welcome to yoga. I'm Joanne. Thanks for practicing with me today. And we're going to start in a comfortable seat on an elevated cushion. So find yourself a blanket or a pillow that's a little bit firm. Anything that's going to help you sit up nice and tall that you're not going to sink into too much. So a nice firm cushion or blanket. And then lift the flesh from your sitting bones so you can kind of ground those into your seat, whatever you're sitting on. And from there, I want you to think about finding some length through the spine. So we're grounding and then we're lengthening and lifting. We're engaging our core just a little bit to support our posture. And then resting the hands either palms down or up, whatever you like. Down is a little more grounding, up is maybe a little more receptive. So whatever you feel like you need today. And we'll get started. Happy New Year. I haven't seen or been with most of you since the beginning of the year. And then, so finding that length. And we're going to retract our chin just slightly so that the head aligns right above the spine. So I want you to feel that lift and length through the spine. And then I want you to soften your muscles. So we're creating sort of a structural support and then we're relaxing around it. Hopefully that makes sense. And if it doesn't, don't worry about it. So let's let the eyes gently close at the beginning. We'll center ourselves. Take some time. It's nice at the beginning of the practice to set an intention or a dedication for your practice if you'd like. And choosing one thing to focus on. So it might be breath, it might be alignment, you might again dedicate the practice. Whatever you're choosing, repeat 3 times to yourself. Once you've done that, if you're setting an intention, bring your awareness to the breath. So I want you just to notice how the breath is moving through the body and how you feel. So just noticing, checking in with yourself. Do you feel tired? Are you feeling ready to go? Are you feeling antsy? Nice just to notice what's going on as we come to the mat. And then again, checking in with the breath. And then I want us to sort of think about the breath as we engage it in a 3-part breath. So with yoga, we really want to fill the belly with fresh oxygen as we inhale. We want to start the inhale from the navel, below the navel. So think about expanding the belly like a balloon, and then moving the breath out to the side body, to the ribs, feeling them grow and expand out. And finally, the breath comes up to the chest. The tops of the lungs come all the way up here, so we're expanding that, and that brings our collarbone up a little bit. So we think of a 3-dimensional wave of breath through the body. And then as we exhale, we breathe out through the nose and we reverse that wave. So it's just a reverse. So everything comes back down and in. And we gently squeeze the navel toward the spine. So we're activating a little bit, getting all the stale air out of our lungs. That should automatically let your belly reinflate. And if you're new to this breathing technique, don't stress about it. Just relax. Try to sort of emulate that, but again, don't stress it, it'll come. So as we inhale, it's nice to envision or think about expansion and creating that nice big structure in the body. And as we exhale through the nose, just let go of any tension, soften and release. softening around that space. Let's take a few breaths here together in that way. So think about expansion and opening up, filling the body. And as you exhale through the nose, slowly and gently, relax and release. You might check in that the brow is soft and relaxed, the jaw is relaxed. You might part your lips so the jaw is soft. Couple more breaths. And let's fill the lungs again. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose. And on your exhale, simply bow the chin to the chest. Stretching the back of your neck. Letting go. Keep that posture tall. Keep the shoulders open. And then just nice and gently inhale as you bring an ear toward a shoulder. We're going to open the neck a little bit. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale to the second side. And exhale, chin to chest. So it's a bit chilly today where I am, so we're going to get moving here in a minute, but we're going to open the neck, the shoulders a little bit before we start. Make sure we're nice and warm. Allow the breath to guide you. Inhale as you open through the side. Exhale as you relax the chin forward. It's nice to coordinate the breath with your movements, but again, if you're new to the practice, don't stress about that. It'll come. So inhale, let's take it one more time, side to side. And exhale. Good, and then let's come to that first side. Open up, ear over the shoulder. Open the chest, lift up tall through the posture, make sure you're not sagged. Take your opposite arm out to the side and lower to the floor. You could use a prop here if you need, or the floor, and then gently exhale down, look over your bottom shoulder, and then inhale, look toward the other side. So we're moving on a diagonal, down and up, allowing the breath to guide you. And you should be feeling that through the front and back of your neck. So we're not going up and down like this, we're moving side to side. Good, one more breath. Good, and then drop the chin to the chest, take that arm, extended arm in, take your head upright, shrug your shoulders here, squeeze them up and down the back, lower the shoulders. Hopefully you feel a difference in the sides here. Drop the chin to the chest and inhale to the second side. So now your ear is over the other shoulder, opposite arm stretches out toward the floor or prop. Make sure you're lifted, and then just begin to rotate. Exhale down and inhale up. So you might close the eyes as you do this. It's nice to kind of intuit the feelings and sensations of the stretch as you move. And if you're new, you might watch and then join that when you're ready. So the only rule of yoga for everybody is to never do anything in pain. So if anything is uncomfortable for you, stop doing it. And knowing the difference between pain and challenging yourself. So it might be a good burn, and that's okay. And then let's drop the chin forward, bring that hand in, lift the head upright. We're going to shrug the shoulders again. So knowing when you're working hard and how that feels in the body versus something that doesn't feel right. So make sure you're paying attention to that. Let's take one more shoulder shrug here, squeeze up and back. Good. Let's do a couple side stretches. Inhale, sweep one arm up to the sky, and then pay attention to keep the shoulder grounded, and then walk the other hand out and fold through the side body. Soften, pulling up at the same time as you're reaching over. Take a deep breath into the ribs here. Let's take another breath in. As you exhale, we're going to just spill forward. So sweep that arm, lead with your elbow across to the front, all the way around, reach out in front of you, and then inhale, come up onto the other side. So find that position, open through the side, and lift at the same time as you're reaching. Breath into the rib cage here, stretching those muscles in the ribs. Breathe in. And exhale, spill forward, lead with the elbow. Reach out, stretch across, inhale up, and then we're going to move a little faster with that same movement. Good, so let's spill forward, reach, now lift. Good, spill forward, reach, and inhale, lift. Let's do one more side to side. Reach across. You should feel that a little bit in the hip when you're reaching forward and out, and in the side body for sure. A little in the shoulders, and then let's lift up tall, lower the arm by the side, shrug your shoulders up, down, and back one more time, open your chest. Good, and then we're gonna come into a tabletop position on all fours, so you can take your blanket to the side. You might use it as a cushion for your knees if you are on a hard surface like I am. So always using props if you need them. Let's come onto all fours. We're going to do another shoulder opener here. I want you to press the mat away from you, and you want to brighten your fingers on the mat so they're spaced as far apart as you can get them, and activate through the whole surface of the hand, not just the wrist. So you really want to press into your fingers as well. Knees are under the hips. Tops of the feet are on the floor. Let's kick the feet into the floor a little bit, kind of wake them up. And then plant the feet into the floor and really activate the toes, the tops of your toes as well. So you're not just hanging out, but you're active there. Good, we're gonna thread the needle. So we're gonna inhale and lift one arm, sweeps up to the sky, open through the chest. As you exhale, you're gonna bring this arm between the hand and the knee on the floor and come all the way down to your cheek, all the way to the side of the head. So by doing that, you're releasing that shoulder blade. Inhale as you sweep and lift up. The option here is to stay static. If you want to stay in the stretch on the floor, you can. Or you can move. Inhale, sweep open. Exhale, come down. Good. Two more times on this side. Inhale, reach. Exhale, come down. And last time, up and down. Good, let's take a breath at the bottom. Sinking into that shoulder blade, and we'll come back to all fours. And take the other side. So set yourself up first. When you're ready, you're gonna inhale, lift open, and exhale, thread the needle. Make sure you're coming again all the way down to the cheek. Inhale as you open. You might stay on the floor if you want to keep it a little more stretchy. Or if you want to keep it a little more active, we'll move. Inhale up. So every day is different. So listen to your body. That's the main thing too. You want to pay attention to. Two more times. And last time up. And exhale, come down. Pause here. Take another breath here. Just sink into that shoulder blade. Excellent. And slowly come back as you unwind into your tabletop position. Good. From here, we're going to walk the knees behind the hips just a tiny bit. And then again, we're going to activate the feet into the floor. I want you to have your hands under your shoulders. And then the inside of your elbow comes forward. And then we want to make sure we're not hyperextending in our joints. That's not good for the joints. So you want to soften it just a little bit. You might not even see much of a difference. But you should feel a little difference. We want to a soft joint, not a hyperextended. So from here, you're gonna place the feet on the floor, gather some energy in your breath, engage your navel toward your spine, so you're not sinking and sagging in the belly. We're gonna lift the navel toward the spine, take a breath in. As you're ready, you're gonna just lift the knees off the floor, maybe an inch. Lots of energy here, breathe. If this hurts your legs or feet in any way, don't do it. One more breath. And release the feet. Tuck your toes under now, if you can feel all 10 of them, and then push back over your hips, stretching the bottom of your foot the other direction. Allow the forehead to relax toward the floor if you can. Take a breath here. Good, inhale, lift back up. And as you move, I want you to think of engaging your muscles around the bone. So we're not just like moving with momentum, but we're intentionally moving. Good, from here, again, knees are behind the hip points, just a touch. We're gonna bend at the elbow. And then we're gonna plant our chest between our hands. Lower yourself down, hover. Elbows hug close. My glutes are lifted. And then let the legs come down behind you, tops and feet will press into the mat, and inhale, lift for low cobra, draw your shoulders back. Feel your heart move forward, your neck is nice and long, tailbone tucks. Take one more breath here. Good, release the chest down. From here, tuck your toes again. You're gonna push up through tabletop or come straight back to downward dog. First downward dog, pedal your feet out. Walk out your dog. So here's some tips. Make sure the arm, again, the inside of the elbow is forward, engaging the full surface of your hand. Walk your dog out. You want to look like an inverted V. So you might use a mirror to check yourself out. Good, and then we're gonna just take a slow stroll to the front of the mat. So walk yourself up, come to standing forward fold, measure 2 fists between your feet. Bend your knees as much as you need here so the hands touch the floor, and then tuck the forehead to the shins. Just note where you are. Take a breath in and out. Good, let the head and arms dangle in front of you now, shake out a little bit. Tuck your tailbone and roll yourself up one vertebra at a time to the top of your mat. Shrug your shoulders here as you open your chest, coming to a mountain pose, nice, even pelvis. Heavy suitcases in your hands, chin is parallel to the floor, retract a little bit so you're nice and aligned. Good, and then from here, we're gonna reach the arms behind us to stretch through the chest and shoulders without arching your back. Lift up. Touch your hands, stretch up tall, soften your shoulders. Exhale, soften the knees and hinge at the hip as you fold forward, back down to forward fold, tuck the forehead. Again, bend your knees as much as you need. Inhale, you're gonna come into flat back, so bring the hands on the thighs and lengthen out. And then as you exhale, you'll fold again. So each time you come here, hopefully you'll notice a shift as we warm up, that the legs can open up a little bit more as we stretch. So hands come down next to the feet. You're gonna take a giant step back with one leg. So I'm starting with my right leg back. So you can do whichever side you want. Make sure you're switching. We're gonna scissor our legs toward the midline so we can find that lift. You want this knee on top of the heel. Nice, strong, firm right angle here for support. And then lift and keep that pelvis neutral. Add the arms, breathe in. Good, getting a nice stretch in this hip flexor here. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, float the hands down to frame that front foot. Good, we're gonna walk it back into half monkey. So yes, excellent. Draw the toes up and lengthen the chest forward. So think about pulling that front hip to the back as you reach forward with the heart. You could use props here if you need them. Under your hands for more space. Take a deep breath in, softening through this front hamstring. Good, and then slowly walk your hands forward, plant the foot, exhaling. Tuck your back toes under. We'll lift the back knee. Take both hips high. Step back to a downward dog. Maybe pedal your feet. Good. And then we'll take a nice easy flow from here. So what you want to do, hopefully you don't need to move the hands and feet around very much. So from your downward dog, you're going to inhale. Again, use the muscles. Float into plank. So my shoulders align above my wrists, my hips lower. In a nice firm line. Looking down, breathe in. Exhale, drop the knees, the chest and the chin. Slide into a cobra, open the chest, draw the shoulders back, looking out in front of you. Feet are glued. Take a deep breath in. Good. Exhale, lower the chest, lower the chin. Tuck your toes, slowly through tabletop or straight back downward dog. Good. From here, bend your knees. And then options here, you can walk, you could step, or you could hop up. So strolling up is just fine, or you can bend your knees. It's nice to gaze past the hands. And then try to use your core strength to step through. One leg at a time. Or you can hop as long as you're light on the feet, if that's in your practice. I don't do that. So you could do that if you'd like. Hold here. Let's roll it up. Inhale. But again, you want to be soft when you land on the joints. Open the chest. So that's why it's pretty difficult to do. So probably most of us aren't going to be doing that. So here we are. Let's reach back. Inhale, lift. Deep breath in, touch hands, soften shoulders, soften the knees as you hinge at the hip and fold back down, forward bend. Go ahead, tuck. Inhale, halfway lift. Lengthen your chest. And exhale, bow. Hands plant again. This time we'll take our left leg back or the second side, drop the knee, uncurl the toes. Good, so making that cushion if you need for the knee. Make sure the front knee is above the heel. Scissoring the legs toward the midline helps to lift you. Add the arms. Soften the shoulders, lengthen your fingertips. Good, breathe here. So a deep belly brush, you should feel a nice stretch in this back hip flexor. Put one more breath in. Float the hands down as you exhale. Frame the foot. Walk it back. Draw the toes up. Open the chest forward. Good. This leg does not have to be straight. It can be a little soft. Breathe. Sitting bone pulls back, heart pulls forward. One more breath. And slowly walk it forward. Exhale, plant back down to home base for the hands and foot. Tuck the back toes. We're going to lift the back knee and step up, forward bend. So come all the way up to the front of the mat. Hold. Roll yourself up as you're ready. Inhale. Shrug your shoulders, open the chest back to your mountain pose. Good. Now that we're warmed up, we'll keep moving a little bit more. Reach back, inhale, lift. And exhale, swan dive, fold. Inhale, halfway. And exhale, bow. Excellent. Plant the hands. Take a giant step back with the right leg. This time we'll keep the knee lifted. We're going to lower the hips. You're going to pivot your back foot down so you get the front heel intersects the back arch or heel. Reverse a cartwheel up, power up, warrior two. Good. So warrior two, we want to keep the shoulders above the hips. Lengthen the arms. Notice I'm not leaning this way. And we want to open this knee so you can see your big toe. Back foot is nice and firmly rooted. Soften the shoulders, lengthen the fingers. Look to the front hand. We're letting this front hip open up with the knee. Take a breath here, nice and lifted through the core. Breathe in and out. Good, let's do a little flow here. So we're going to turn our front palm up just to move and create a little more heat. Now we're going to lean forward, inhale, reach. As you exhale, float back. The legs are not changing. You're keeping the legs working just the same. If you need a break anytime in the practice, please feel free to take one. Reaching back, opening through the front ribs. Breathe in. Exhale back to warrior two. Legs still working. Breathe in. Exhale, take this forearm, bend it, place it on your front thigh. Take the top arm up and over the ear, palm to the floor. Legs stay the same. Line of energy from your fingers, top fingers to the outer edge of your back foot. Try not to let this hip creep up. Keep it nice and low. Good. As you breathe in next, pull that arm all the way up and back in a big circle. Come back to warrior two. Legs still working. Mine's burning a little bit. One more breath here. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, we're going to cartwheel the hands to frame that front foot. Lift your back heel, take both hips up and step yourself back to downward dog. Pedal the feet. And again, please feel free to take a break if you need one. Ooh, feeling that front leg. Good. Inhale, come into plank pose. Shoulders above wrists. Exhale, drop the knees, the chest, and the chin. Slide into your cobra, open the chest. Deep breath in, feet are glued. One more breath here. Release down. Tuck your toes through tabletop or straight back to downward dog. We'll meet in the front of the mat. So again, you can walk, you can step, or you can hop. Forward bend. Roll yourself up, tuck your toes, slowly roll. One vertebra at a time as you come to the top of the mat. Open the chest, make come back to your mountain pose nice and even. Good. Taking a breath. Reach the arms back behind you as you lift. Good, touch hands. Exhale, swan dive. Soften those knees as you fold, forward bend. Inhale halfway. And exhale, bow. Hands come next to your feet. You're going to take a giant step back with your left leg this time. So switching sides. I just moved so you could see me. Again, lower the hips here, coming into a lunge position. Pivot the back foot down. Check your alignment before you come up. We're going to power through that front quad as we reverse the cartwheel up. Lots of work to get up there, so take your time as you transition. And then again, this hip bone will follow the knee. Knee is above the heel, arms extend, warrior two, soft shoulders. Back foot is nice and firmly rooted. Good. Shoulders are over the hips, gaze to the front hand. And again, open through the knee a little bit. Take a deep breath in. And out. Turn that front palm up. We're going to reach as we inhale, reach forward. Exhale, float back. Legs stay the same, still working with the legs. Breathe into the front ribs. Inhale. Good. Exhale, back to warrior two. Legs stay the same. Take a breath in. Forearm comes to the front thigh, top arm lifts up and over. We want to keep the shoulders soft, not hunched up by the ear, but grounded and open. You also don't want to lean on this leg, but you're pressing the forearm into the thigh and creating a nice open space in the neck. Good, you're gonna inhale, lift that arm up and come back to warrior two. Use the leg. That front quad is working. One more breath. Beautiful, slowly exhale, cartwheel the hands down, frame the foot. Turn the back heel up and then let's step up to forward fold. Meeting at the top of the mat. And roll up slowly. Shrug your shoulders as you open the chest, coming back to a mountain pose. Excellent. Nice and even with the pelvis. Heavy suitcase. Taking a breath here, gather your energy. And let's reach back, inhale, lift up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen your heart, flat back, and fold again. Just check in with where you are with the legs. Maybe a little more open by now, hopefully. Good, and then plant your hands. We're gonna take a giant step back with the right leg. Plant both hands, lift your hips, and step back with the left leg. We're gonna meet in downward dog. So feeling that lift of energy through the hips. Good, and then we're gonna try three-legged dog. So this will be fun and exciting, and you can skip it if it doesn't work out for you, no worries. So let's start with the right leg up in the sky, keeping your shoulders even. So we're just lifting that leg up. You're gonna bend at the knee. And then you're gonna keep the tailbone tucked. And then you're gonna pull the bent knee in, use your core strength to squeeze up, hover, bring that knee in. See if you can pull the foot all the way through. So now you're in a lunge position on this side. We've planted our foot between our hands, and you're gonna plant the back foot down, step it up a little bit. I'm gonna move my blanket. So you're stepping this back foot up and on a bit of an angle. The foot is still rooted. We're gonna come up for warrior one. So you can check heel to heel or heel to arch alignment. Front leg is a little bit bent. We're gonna rise up. Good, so from here, we're trying to aim the hips toward the front. Tuck your tailbone. Sink into this quad, add the arms. So you're really firmly rooting the outer edge of your back foot. So I think this is one of the harder poses we do in yoga. It's just, I don't know what it is about this pose, but it's difficult. So soften those shoulders, extend the fingers. Then we're gonna just do a short little flow for opening the chest. So from warrior one here, take a deep breath in. As you exhale, I want you to pull the shoulder blades behind you, squeeze them back into cactus arms, open the chest. And as you do that, you're straightening the front leg. Good, try to keep the pelvis neutral as you do this. So we're gonna sink and reach. So you don't want to feel any pinching in the lower back. Exhale, pull the shoulder blades back, open the chest, straighten the front leg. Let's do that one more time. Sink and reach. Good. Exhale, pull back. Over the chest. Good. Let's come back into warrior one. Reach. Sink the leg. Take a deep breath in. And then slowly drop the hands. We're going to come all the way down to frame the foot. Slide your back leg back. Lift your hips and step back to downward dog. Maybe pedal the feet out. Let's flow here. Come into plank pose. Drop your knees, your chest, and your chin. Slide into a cobra, open the chest. Draw the shoulders back. Glue the feet. Breathe in. Good, release the chin, chest. Tuck your toes. Coming through tabletop or straight back to downward dog. And then let's just switch sides from here. So you're going to take your other leg in the sky, your left leg, if you started on the same side as me. Three-legged dog. Shoulders stay even, bend the knee. Tuck your tailbone here, engage your core a little bit. Connect with your breath. Let's squeeze it up. Inhale, squeeze the knee up. And in, use your muscles to pull the leg through. If the leg doesn't come through, you're welcome to reach back and just pull it forward. That's totally fine. Coming to lunge position. Step your back foot up about a foot. 6 to 12 inches and plant it on an angle. Rising up, warrior one position. Again, hip bones try to face the front of the mat. Back foot is anchored and tailbone is neutral. Reach the arms up. Soften your shoulders, extend your fingers and connect to your breath. Try to find that neutral pelvis. So one thing that's easy to do here is dump into the back like this. We want to tuck the tailbone so we're not putting any pressure in our lower back. Let's cactus arm it up, bring the arms back, open the chest, straighten the leg. Inhale as you sink and reach back to your warrior one. Exhale, pull and open the chest. Good, sink and reach. Inhale, lift. Good, last time, open, pull back, and sink, warrior one. Take a breath in. Good, slowly float the hands down to frame your foot. We're gonna step back one more time. So scooch that leg back, lift your hips, and step back, downward dog. Good, pedal those feet. And let's take one more flow. So we're gonna float into plank pose. Feeling your core, exhale, drop the knees, the chest, and the chin. Slide into a cobra, open up. Feet are glued. Neck is long and loose. Breath is full and deep. Release down. And then we're gonna push back into child's pose briefly. So sitting back over your hips, forehead comes down. You can bring the arms by the side. You might need a pillow behind your knees here if this is a difficult position. That's totally fine. You could even just stop at tabletop. Good. Slowly, let's walk the arms back out. And inhale, come into onto all fours. Good, and then we're gonna tuck the toes. We're gonna come up to downward dog here briefly. Good, make sure your elbows are forward, fingers gripping into the mat. Relax the chest and the head. You're gonna walk yourself, take a couple steps up toward the middle of your mat and walk your hands back so you're forward fold in the middle of the mat. And then from here, we're gonna roll ourselves up nice and slow to the center of our mat, or almost to the center of our mat. I'm gonna come around. Good, and then we're gonna come into mountain pose at the center of the mat. So I'm gonna invite us to do a balance pose next. And let's start with the tree. It's a nice beginner-friendly balance. So feet hip width apart. Open the shoulders down the back, nice and neutral with the pelvis. And you're gonna fix the weight or shift the weight to one foot, whichever leg you wanna start with to balance on. And again, just to reiterate, we wanna micro bend the joint. So we never wanna lock the leg out. So make sure the knee joint is soft. It's not bent, but it's also not locked. So it's a happy medium in between. So once you fix your standing leg, you're gonna shift your weight to that leg, and you wanna fix your gaze anywhere on the floor that's not gonna move. When you feel steady, the other foot will come to the ankle with the toe down, the calf, or the thigh. Whatever you like. So you wanna feel the leg and the foot pressing in together toward one another. If you fall out, don't worry about it. Just start again. Keep your gaze nice and fixed. Hands to heart. And then maybe your branches lift up. You can have them out to the side, whatever you like. You can also use a wall if this feels too unstable. So you could have a wall really close by for balance, or a chair. Breathing. Softening, so we're grounding and extending at the same time. Beautiful. Let's take one more breath. And we'll slowly take the hands to the heart, releasing the leg, and then we'll shake it out. So every day is different with balance, so be patient with yourself. Don't stress it. If it's an off day, it's all good. You'll find other days will be easier. And then you're going to shift to the other side. So again, make sure you're not locking the knee, fixing your gaze anywhere that's not going to move. So it's nice to pick something in the tile or the carpet that's doesn't have a shadow on it. When you feel steady, take the foot to the ankle, calf, or thigh. We don't want to use the knee because we don't want our knee to move side to side. It's a hinge joint. It only goes one direction, so we don't want to push it on the side. So again, pick anything but the knee, pressing into the midline again. Lift hands to heart. Extend the arms when you're ready. Connect to your breath. So we've got that dynamic energy of the leg and the foot together, extending and grounding at the same time. Soften the shoulders, brow and jaw are relaxed. One more breath. Fell out, don't stress it. Hands slowly come down to the heart. Sorry, a little snippy. And release the leg. Good, shake it out. Excellent. So let's do one more thing standing, and then we'll come to the floor. So let's take our feet a little bit wide apart. I'm going to do a wide-legged forward fold. So feet are parallel. We're going to take the hands around, thumbs around the waist, and then your fingers are going to support your lower back right at your sacrum. So you're kind of giving yourself a little back hug here. Feet nice and wide. Elbows draw back, chest lifts. Tailbone's neutral. Take a deep breath in. And then slowly hinge at the hip. So again, that flat back idea, lengthening forward. And then you might have props handy and bring them under your hands here. So the hands can come to the floor or to blocks. And then we want to create that length through the spine. So you could take your feet wider to get closer to the floor. That will help if you're less flexible. The more flexible, the closer your feet might be. We want to engage that nice flat back here again. So we're hinged at the hip. We're not rounded. We're lengthened. So again, if you need props to bring the floor closer to you, that's totally fine. So breathing here, and then we're going to walk it down a little further. So you can bring your hands under the legs, between the legs, and relax the head down. Let go of gravity here. Let the head release. Head should not be on the floor. If it is, take your feet a little closer. Shake your head a little yes and no. Just let the upper body relax here. Good. And then you're going to walk your hands over to one leg. And I want you to relax. You can bend the knees a bit if this is too intense. You don't have to keep them straight. So listen to your body. Just walk over to one side, come through the center, and then walk to the other side. Changing that angle a little bit of our stretch. Lengthening. Slowly come back through center. And let's do a nice, easy twist. So we're going to place one hand in front of the floor, on the front of our face on the floor, maybe on your mat or a block. And then again, inside of the elbow comes forward, but we micro bend the joint. We're going to take the other hand like a bow and arrow and pull up and open in a nice easy twist. Keep your hips even. You can have the knees bent. Open through the chest. Reach to the sky. Keep your head supported. Don't drop your head. Good. Let's slowly take that top arm down. We're going to plant it right where the other hand is. Switching sides. Pull that bow and arrow up. Make sure you've got the micro bend up and open in a twist. Again, the legs can be bent here or straight if you're more flexible. Open the chest. One more breath. Good. Slowly take that arm down. Bring your hands under the shoulders again or to props. Good. Walk your heels in. Let your toes fan out. And then slowly lower the hips down. So we're going to try to come into a squat. If this works for you, you can place something under your heels. You can have a block under your hips. Lots of ways to use props here, so feel free to do that. Bring the hands to the heart, thumbs to sternum, elbows come inside of your thighs, and we open the chest. Pull the knees in and press out at the same time. Take a breath here. If this doesn't work for you, you can skip it, so don't stress if this is like way out of your zone right now. That's totally fine. Bring your hands down, bring your bum to the floor. Let's come to the long edge of the mat. So we're going to come down. So you can have your feet on the floor. And then I want you to think about your core strength as you lower. So take your hands behind your thighs and slowly let your back round. Tuck your chin to the chest. And slowly come down. So we're trying to engage our core as we release to the floor. Come all the way to the back. Make sure the head is neutral on the floor. Good, and then we're going to just take a nice hip stretch here. So cross one leg on top of the other. Flex the top foot. And then I want you to think about bringing the whole unit of your legs up toward you. So lifting the legs. You can take the same arm as the top leg through the hole. Connect behind the bottom thigh. Good, and then you're pulling that in. And at the same time, you might press your elbow into that top thigh to move that knee away from you to deepen that stretch. Notice my tailbone is still on the ground. And I'm going to flex and activate my top foot to protect the knee. Notice my head is relaxed. If your head is lifted like this, place a prop under your head so it can be nice and neutral if you need. You're going to breathe into this hip. You can relax that bottom foot. Should be feeling a nice deep stretch here. And again, this might look very different for you, and that's fine. One more breath here. Relaxing into that hip joint. Good, let's slowly let the legs go down to the floor, uncross and unwind. And then let's take the arms out to a T and just gently windshield wiper your legs side to side once or twice. Bring your knees up again, feet on the floor, about a hip width apart, and we'll cross the other ankle on top. So again, that top arm, or same arm as the top leg, will come through the hole for figure 4, connect behind the bottom thigh, soften the bottom leg, engage the top foot, pulling toward your chest. And then maybe the elbow presses that top knee out a little further for a deeper stretch. You might be getting plenty where you are, so that's not necessary. And connect to your breath here. Nice, slow, deep breaths. Unwinding our hips. Soften your face and your brow. Excellent. And then let's slowly release that leg. Unwind. Arms out to a T again once more. Windshield wiper your legs. Good. And then let's take both knees into the chest here. Give yourself a little squeeze and hug. We're going to just rock around gently side to side, massaging our lower back, and then make a couple circles with the knees. So let's go in both directions. So couple in one direction, then we'll reverse the opposite direction. Squeeze the knees in, yourself a little hug, lower the feet to the floor. Good, and then take your feet at least a mat width apart here. And let's do one more, actually, take your feet, hip distance apart. We're gonna do one more stretch before we relax. One more. So we're going to have our hands, draw them down next to your side, toward your feet. You want to walk your feet as close to your hips as you can. And the knees and the feet are parallel, hip distance. Make sure you've got that nice alignment. And then if it's super tight, you could have your feet a little bit wider. Make sure this doesn't bother your knees. And then slowly, option one, we're just going to tilt the pelvis. So tuck your tailbone. We want to think about engaging our core pressure, lower back into the floor, and then maybe lift the hips up toward the sky for bridge. Make sure the neck is neutral. You're looking straight up. Exhale down. So you don't want to look at the screen while you're doing this. So maybe watch first and then join. And then again, tuck your tailbone. Push the low back down, engage the core, and then if you want to continue, lift the hips up. Deep breathe. Slowly exhale down, lower down, one vertebra at a time. Good, and then we'll do that one last time. So again, hands and feet on the floor, firmly rooted, tuck your tailbone, press the low back down, engage the core, and then maybe peel up. Breathing in. You might pause and take one more breath here. And then exhale slowly all the way back down. Tuck your tailbone. Good, and release. Good, and now we'll take our feet a mat width apart. If you have any tension in your back at all, you're going to let the knees come to center. Nice release for the back. And if you'd like, you can stretch your legs all the way out. Feet a mat width apart. Your back feels good. We're going to let the palms float up, face the sky, tuck the shoulders under the chest to open the heart. Make sure the neck is neutral on the floor. Allow the fingertips to curl toward the palm as they relax. Reconnect to your breath. Gently close the eyes, part your lips, relax your jaw. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Let's sigh it out through the mouth. Let go of any tension in the body. Relax your entire body completely. So this is one of the most important poses of yoga practice. that we allow our bodies to relax and assimilate all the work we just did. So important. So take some time here to just relax. Eyes gently closed. Lips are slightly parted. And then it's nice to scan your body. Notice if there's anywhere you might be holding tension. Surround that tension on your inhale with the breath. And use your exhale just to let it go. Allow it to melt into the earth, into your mat. Relax. 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 It's a nice opportunity to visualize your favorite place where you might like to relax. Eyes stay closed, letting the breath move freely through the body. Imagine you're just floating on a cloud. Notice if the mind begins to wander, gently bring it back to the breath. And completely relax. Letting thoughts pass by like clouds in the sky. And relax. Say that this is probably the hardest pose in yoga. I know we tend to want to get on with our day and we feel busy. This is really where you can get so much benefit if you give yourself just a few minutes at the end of every practice to let go. So good for the nervous system and the body. Just relax. And let go. And just gently begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes, and you might rock your head a little side to side. And slowly let your knees bend if they're not already there. Place your feet on the floor. And roll onto the right side of your body to a fetal pose for just a moment. So we're going to take a moment here just to notice any changes between now and the beginning of practice. And you might recall if you set an intention or dedication for your practice. This also gives our heart a chance to fill with blood. We can easily transition back to our day. So you're going to use your left hand to gently push yourself back to a comfortable seat. We'll meet an easy pose one more time, and you can use your prop if you need it to sit up nice and tall. And let's inhale as we sweep the arms up together. Take a nice deep breath in. Feel your hands at the top, lower them to your heart, and bow to yourself with gratitude for practicing today. And we'll bow to each other. Namaste.